The left continues to relish in rage and anger as they have been for 10 years now. A 19-year-old man wearing the same shirt, mind you, as the man who murdered Charlie Kirk was seen yesterday, September 14th, trampling and desecrating a memorial at TPUSA HQ. TPUSA was a company that Kirk ran. And this is just disgusting, and it's sad, and it's disturbing. And I can only hope and pray that people like him and many other people on the left who are relishing and glee from Charlie Kirk's murder, that I can only hope and pray, as I hope you do too, that these people learn what actual compassion is and find their soul, because I'm assuming they either sold it a long time ago or like someone took it from them, or maybe they never had one in the first place. So I hope that's not true. But a lot of these people like this man here, I mean, honoring the man who murdered Kirk, wearing the same shirt as he did. And we got video of it here from Fox, as well as some other people on X here on the Post Millennial of him. We're just going to catch the tail end of it. Come on. Of him trampling through the grave. As you can see, some people there at the memorial and mourning and celebrating Charlie Kirk's life. Wrestle him down. There was actually another part of this where some people put him on the ground and held him there for a while until security could get over in the area and arrest this man for desecrating this memorial and disturbing the peace. And it just goes to show the great divide in our country that we still have, and I hope to God changes, because there's no off ramp, there's no way to get away from it. Where the left keeps getting increasingly more violent and angry, and they've been radical for a long time, but I guess more radical, and they just keep pushing for no reason, like this guy here. Like I don't know why he's just creating the memorial, other than that he thinks that Charlie Kirk was actually an evil human being and that he was a fascist, or that he was this horrible racist, whatever. And you see right here, the people on the right who are there in support of Charlie Kirk, or who are mourning his death, they just wrestle him away, whatever. They don't do it. These people, like you had in 2020 during the Floyd riots, like you saw in Kenosha, Wisconsin, of people beating the ever living crap out of people, and damn near killing them sometimes because they, maybe they're causing trouble or they're just disagreeing. Now this is different. He's causing trouble. He's wrecking his memorial. He's, trashing on Kirk and his life. And these people, they just wrestle him away. They put him on the ground, wait for security to take him away. They don't just huddle up in a circle and start kicking and beating on him like you would see on the left. And we're seeing this in the aftermath of Kirk's death. A lot of people on the left just like going full, taking off the mask. Not that they ever really had one, and just showing their true colors and being violent. We had this, I think it was 2 days ago. Leftist fires a gun at Trump supporter over his sign. Excuse me. The leftist tried to rip down his sign, and the Trump supporter fired a gun into the air as a warning, which I advise you all not to do. Shooting a gun in the air is a bad idea because bullets must come down. So that's error on his part. But then the leftist also fired at the Trump supporter, you can see here in the video.
Watching the scene live, says he went outside and fired his rifle twice in the air.
Let him know that somebody's watching him, and didn't appreciate it.
Then, as the man drives off, you see him raise his gun out of the sunroof of his car. That's when the owner says that man shot at him. Watching the scene live, says he went...
Just more violence, more rage, more... a lack of tolerance, right? The left preaches being so tolerant. They preach that the right are the hateful people, excuse me, and that people like myself and others are not tolerant, and they're just angry and hateful all the time. And we hate people on the left. When we hate trans people and gay people and black people and all this, because it's not true, but I mean, how else are you going to win when you have no winning positions other than just lying about your opponent, I guess? So we see this property owner He just has a Trump flag on the side of some buses he has, as a display of support. And this man goes rip down his flag. Property owner is like, "Hey man, don't do that," and he fires his firearm once again into the air. Not a good idea. Bullets must come down, and that can cause harm to other people. Don't do that. But he brandishes a weapon on his property as a sign of like, "Hey man, don't mess with my shit." And the leftist here proceeds to get into his vehicle and aim his gun at him. And I believe it's said that he fired at him, though I couldn't see it in the video. But like I said, just another display of a lack of tolerance from the left, and more hate and vile. And it's really concerning because people were saying there is no off ramp. The off ramp from this political height in our country was Charlie Kirk. He was willing to debate and talk, and not just spew that the other side was bad and evil. Like some people do on both sides, mostly on the left though. And they killed him. A leftist. In an earlier video, I showed that, though the media is trying to say that Kirk's assassin was not on the left, is very likely from a suspected assassin. It is very likely that he was on the left. He was at bare minimum roommates with a trans person, which most people on the right, most gripers, as the media is saying that the suspected killer was, would not room with a trans person. They definitely would not be dating them, as we have an idea from the suspected killer's neighbor saying that they were seen holding hands and kissing, which two regular guys don't do, And it's just this push from the left, not just pushing the killer off of them and saying that, oh, he's not affiliated with us. They're instead just saying like, oh, he was a crazy person, which I would respect more than them saying, no, he was on the right and he was a radical, and it was because Charlie Kirk was not far right enough. Meanwhile, they say that Charlie Kirk was super far right. He was an extremist, he was a racist, he was a fascist, and all this shit. And it's just this flimsy argument that makes no sense. And it's just to save face. It's just to try to push the blame and responsibility off of them for 10 years, saying that people like this are fascists. People like Charlie Kirk are fascists. That people like Crowder, like Shapiro, like Tim Pool, like maybe Fuentes. I don't know. I don't watch too much Nick Fuentes, but saying that all these people like Trump are fascists and they're Nazis and they're worse than Hitler. They're literally Hitler. And when you say this for 10 years, you get stuff like this, where people see your flag on your property instead of going whatever and driving going on with their day like a normal adult. They get out, try to tear it down, and then when you as a property owner say, hey, don't mess with my shit, they point a gun at you. And it's crazy. And we got more and more of this. Or was it? Yeah, Johnny Midnight. There was this video of people, and I'm not sure what town or city it is, but they're holding a sign that just says trans women are men, doing what similar to Kirk did, not necessarily sitting at a table and saying debate me, but just, they're protesting, you could say, and they're putting out a message like, hey, this is what we believe, and if you disagree, you'll see in the video, when people disagree with them, they ask them why. They don't tell them to F off, they don't tell them to shut up, they don't just scream that they're wrong or that they're hateful. They ask them why do you disagree? Why are we bad? And you'll see here.
Why is that?
Because you're fucking wrong.
Oh, how?
This is discussing why. Because you're just wrong. Why? And they just keep walking. And I'm assuming the father in this scenario, it seems, flips off the people holding the camera, the people holding the sign, instead of, engaging in debate. And, I get it. They're just going on their day that looks like maybe they're going to a pride parade or something pride related, as they, even including their young child, is dressed in pride gear. God have mercy on that child. I hope they're not... I hope these parents don't transition them if they haven't been transitioned already. But it just shows, like I said, it's a display from the left. And I hate to just rag and dog on the left, because there are some good people on the left. I'll show you here later. Bill Maher, who you can't even necessarily call a lefty anymore. You know, he's just kind of, he's definitely I would say moderate left. You know, he's not crazy. But you see some people on the left are willing to engage in conversation, debate, and aren't just bad, you know, arrogant or ignorant people like this. But they just refuse to engage in debate, but they go out and say that you're wrong or whatever, and you get murders.
If you want to keep your free speech, if you want to keep your free speech, let them walk by. Don't give them any.
They talk to us.
Yeah, they talked to us first.
Yeah.
Mind your business.
Chill.
Like, he doesn't know what happened. He's just like, hey, leave them be. And it's like they walked by and hollered at us and told us we were wrong. And then we engaged back in conversation. And they're like, mind your own business. He's like, no, mind your own business. It's like, what? It just doesn't make sense. These people, they get so angry and heated because they think that they're right all the time. And they're so, at least in this situation, full of themselves, right? Probably because they're surrounded by other people that, you know, they would say they agree with them. You'll see this woman speak here in a second. They're just so angry, and then when they're given any sort of pushback, instead of like compromising or debating or speaking rationally, they just start hollering at you. And this isn't everyone on the left, but it's a lot. Obviously, you can see here more.
Because we can be. Sure, whatever.
I hope parents enjoy their life and not have been forever hating people for doing something that makes themselves happy and doesn't hurt you. And I hope you can stop being so fucking miserable, and if you don't stop, I hope you go in the river.
Okay, you don't seem very happy.
Pig. Huh? We're a fucking pig. For what? You know what it means? Unbelievable. You're disgusting. How?
How so?
I don't understand.
Nothing but hate.
No, it's not. It's the truth.
Absolutely.
It's the truth.
Like I said, I hate just ragging on people and just saying, oh, it's the left, because that causes more issues, right? But how do you as a country fight people that are so angry and so enraged and just, like I said, have been convinced, you know, after being told 10 years that people holding the sign, if they're holding that sign, they're fascist, they're hateful, they're racist, they hate trans people, they want them dead, that they want gay people dead, they hate their rights, that they believe these people should have no rights, whatever. Over and over and over again, these people are told, you know, like all the group of people walking by these people with the sign and that man getting out of his vehicle, that the people holding the, what does it say, just trans women are men sign, that this is hate. This isn't a conversation, this isn't a debate, this isn't an argument, this is hate. That holding up that sign, that this is not up for debate even, that it's just hateful, and that if you say it, you're disgusting, you're a pig, you're evil. And you saw the one woman, whatever, I hope you find some joy in your life, and if you don't, I hope you fall into the river. It's like, they say these two people holding the sign, if not there might be more, they say that they're so hateful and that they're bad and that they're evil and that they're disgusting, they're pigs, or whatever, but it's like, you just have people walking by them saying, F you, you're wrong, you're terrible, you're evil, not engaging in conversation really, just saying that they're bad for holding up an opinion on a sign, which you can do in this country, and I encourage you to. And then they say, if you don't change, I hope you fall into a river. You know, I hope you fall off this bridge into a river. It's like, come on. Like, I don't get it. Are these people just, are their brains not functioning at a high level and they can't understand what they're saying and how like hypocritical and like wrong it is? Or are these people bad actors? You know, are they lying intentionally? I don't know. Maybe it's a mix of both. But it's really concerning because, like I said, you know, 10 years, over 10 years this has been going on. We're a lot of these lefties, I hate saying liberals because it's a very all-encompassing term, but liberals, progressives are told that if you want to be progressive, if you want to be liberal, if you're part of the Democratic Party, you must accept that these people are hateful, and that the message on the sign "Trans women are men" is hate. It's not an argument. It's not a message. It's not a conversation piece. It is hate. Words are hate. Words are violence is what they say, and that's why many of them are saying that Charlie Kirk being murdered, well, he had it coming, or it's a good thing, or he deserved it. Because to them, words are hate. Words are not just they're not a part of a conversation. They're not a part of a message. They're not used to exchange ideas or put out a message. Words are a tool that can be used for control and hate. These people on the left, a lot of them view words not as, like I said, a tool, a means for conversation or a means for spreading messages, spreading word, but as a tool for control and hate. And that's I think it's why you see so many of these people relishing in the death of Charlie Kirk, hating on these two people, just holding up a sign instead of engaging in debate. You see, I forget his name. I don't know if he's sitting in a town just on a road, or if he's at a college, whatever. But you'll see him. He's just sat up at a table saying, "People shouldn't be killed for their opinions," or Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to be killed for his opinions. Where and he sits up at a table, and some people walk up and say, "You know what? I agree with you. People shouldn't be killed for what they say." And then other people walk up and just say that you're wrong, you're hateful, you're evil. He had it coming because he spread hate, because he lied, and they won't elaborate on these things. When he asks them to explain, what do you mean he lied? What did he lie about, or what was he so hateful about? Who did he hate? What he said this thing you believe? Show me where. Like I can show you how he didn't say this thing. And these people, they just walk away. They just go, ugh. They're enraged. They're angry. Because they've just been told so much that they're righteous for believing these things, and that they don't have to explain themselves because, we had a president for 4 years, and Biden and that whole administration said, yes, it is true that these people are hateful and that you don't need to engage in conversation with them. You have the media over and over ever since 2020, and even back as 2015 when Trump started running and was elected president in 16. You just have the media and the news just saying these people are hateful. Their words are violence, and words are violence, and that these people are just bad, and they don't like you, they hate you, they want you dead, they want your rights taken away. And it's just the most absurd argument ever, because it's not true. It has no basis, or else I would be debating in favor of that, because there's no valid argument for the hate that these people spread to people holding a sign, or to Charlie Kirk, or to the man with the Trump sign on his property. People are saying, when you have to kill someone or be violent against someone who's speaking, it usually proves, especially if they're arguing or debating, that you lost a debate, that you can't win that debate or conversation. You're wrong, and so you're like, well, I'm going to resort to violence because I'm not humble and I have no humility, and instead I'm going to just hate and hurt people, which is just disgusting behavior. We got like I said, this was whatever Twitter account, X account, like my political views are where this is, and it's a man and his wife and a bunch of children, whatever. It's a family. It's a nice flourishing family, right? Ivan Loves Worf says, so fascism, and DEI for white guys says, if you want to stop being called quoting Lefties, if you want to stop being called a fascist, and stop being a fascist, right? Like, oh, okay, how can we atone to these people? How can we, maybe get them to stop hating us and wanting us dead? All right, what are they calling us a fascist for? And this is an old debate. This, we figured this out 4 or 6 years ago. Fascism is whatever this is. I guess having a family. I don't know if it's because they're white. I don't know if it's because it's a man and woman. I don't know if it's because it's just a family in general. And now, because we've gotten so comfortable and safe in our modern society, a family is like, it's not really a necessity anymore. Like, oh, you don't need that when you can go do this thing. Go make your money, go make your millions, and just do what you want to do. And what you want to do isn't actually having family because, oh, you're locked up for life, or get ready to never sleep because you're gonna have kids, and your kids are gonna wake you up in the middle of the night. It's like, what, for 3 years? Until they become toddlers and become sentient, more sentient, and they stop crying at 6 a.m. Like these people say, like, oh, you're gonna lose your money, you're locked up, you can only have sex with one woman or one person, whatever, one man, whatever. Like, don't you want don't you want to just indulge and sleep with other people and be free, right? And what is being free to them is doing whatever you please instead of like being free to do good things, to make the world a better place, to produce and be fruitful and to help other people and to produce in this world instead of detracting and saying no, just make it about yourself, just enjoy yourself, indulge in whatever you please because you're free to do that, right? But not all hope is lost. We got Bill Maher talking to, I think it's Billy Corgan from Smashing Pumpkins, who I don't like Smashing Pumpkins, but, respect him. He's a good artist, obviously. And Maher is someone who's so on the left who he'll say he disagrees a lot with Charlie Kirk, but he respects him for talking and having the conversation. We'll see that here.
The fight I am been having with the left, while I'm, of course, the irony, as a lot of people in my position, is still a liberal. Just a traditional liberal, won't go along with their, like a lot of the stuff that's just crazy out there too far, which gets Trump elected, blah, blah, blah. As I always say to my woke friends, we voted for the same person. You're just why she lost.
Oh, I get it. Okay. Took me a second. Sorry, I had to absorb that.
Okay. They're the people who don't want to talk. It's my main issue with them. And Charlie Kirk was a guy who, he was always talking. And I talked to him here. The right-wingers, say what you want about them, but they talk to you. They're not into this leftist think. The left really has much more of a, I don't talk to you, I don't want to deal with you, you're deplorable, I can't break bread with you.
Yeah.
That attitude, and all the right-wingers, they don't have that attitude. Now, again, I didn't vote for them. And Charlie Kirk and I certainly don't agree on much politically. But he sat here. He's a human being. He's not a monster.
And a husband and a father.
Yes. And I liked him. I liked them all. They're all nice people when you meet them in person. And they're not as crazy as they would. Nobody's as crazy as they make them out to be.
Great words from Maher. Well, like you said, people on the right aren't as crazy as they make them out to be. And what does that mean? Like I said, where people like Evan say that people like Gigabase Dad on X, or people who like this image of the family, they say these people are fascists for wanting this. They say that they're fascists for supporting Trump. They say that they're fascists for putting out different ideas than they're, and they say that they're fascists because they talked on college campuses and encourage open debate, and therefore they're evil, right? Like I said, it's just this thing. People on the left have just been told for well over a decade that people like myself and many other people on the right, many of you watching, are just evil because that's the way it is, because we disagree with them. And they never stop to think, okay, how does them holding different ideas from me make them evil, make them fascist, make them a bad person? Well, it's because our different ideas than you are fascism. Why? Because they're wrong, because they're evil, because they lead to taking away the rights from these people, even though that's not even close to true. The things that I and Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool and all these other people on the right, or close to the right adjacent, Tim Pool isn't really on the right, support and say, that we're not encouraging any people's rights to be taken away, and the things that we do want taken away, especially a lot of people with abortion, or they just want it restricted, they're not rights. You can debate that as you want, but it's not a right. There are very few things in this world you have rights to, and rights at the end of the day, if you want to get into it, are just, it's whatever you can defend, whatever you can, whatever you have the power to stop people from taking away from you, but there's certain things that you could say that we could all generally agree are rights, and we can also generally agree and understand and see that many of these things that these people say are rights are being taken away aren't being taken away. Trans people in the United States have the same rights as anyone else. Black people in the United States have the same rights as everyone else. All these minorities that they say they want to protect and they say are being disenfranchised and being hurt, They have the same rights as everyone else. They have the same opportunities as everyone else. There is no difference. I the high school I went to, there were people of every race. There were gay people. There were trans people. There were furries. There were people from everywhere in life, and they all had the same opportunities. They could form their own clubs. They could join their own clubs. They could have their conversations just the same as everyone else. It wasn't this radical thing that like only the white people in my school could talk amongst themselves, or that they were the only ones who could have their own groups. Anyone could, and it's just this idea that, like I said, the left keeps pushing that they have no rights, that their rights are being taken away, that they're being disenfranchised, when it's not true. They've been told that, and they see no other way that cannot be true. Because if you're told something by people that are supposedly credible, such as the news, such as politicians, then how could it be any other way? If they're telling me it's true, who am I to disagree? I'm just the lowly voter, right? And these people, it's so odd. Because they center the whole worlds around themselves generally. They have no God, therefore their God is himself, right? But they also believe that they themselves, though they are their own God, and that they're the only important person in their world, generally, that they're also somehow being discredited and disenfranchised and being treated horribly. And like I said, I don't know where this goes. I don't know how this ends. I hope to God there is still an off ramp. There's a way to get off of this. There's a way to get away from this as a country, and to heal, and to be a cohesive nation again, and to be together, and to agree to disagree. Which we haven't done in a long time. But like many people were saying, like I even really agree, the off ramp was Charlie Kirk, and he's now dead, and killed by the people that, at least myself and many people on the right, wanted to coexist with and heal with, and just agree to disagree. So I don't know where this goes. It's going to be really challenging. It's going to be really difficult, and I encourage all of you watching to get in a position where you can protect yourselves. Don't go out in the street looking for fights. Don't go to political rallies, whatever, on the other side looking to start trouble. To just argue for argument's sake. But if you want to continue the good fight, Charlie Kirk fought, and that many on the right are still fighting. If you can, go out to these college campuses, go out to places where you can debate and ask people and say, I have this opinion, help me change my mind. Let's have a conversation. Let's keep the country healthy and encourage healthy behaviors. Don't get violent. Don't let rage consume you. It is disgusting and reprehensible and just terrible what happened to Kirk and what's happening in this country. And I understand you'll go on Instagram, you'll go on X, you whatever, and you'll see dozens of people celebrating the death of Kirk. I encourage you to not relish in hatred and vile against those people. Try to find it in your heart, especially if you're Christian, as I believe Kirk would have done, to try to forgive them and hope that they repent and hope that they atone and can, find peace with God or with themselves or whatever. Don't relish in hate. Don't let your rage and anger take control of you, so we can heal as a nation. I encourage you all to defend yourselves and stay safe out there and make this country a better place. We'll have more news coming out throughout the rest of the week. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share this with everyone you know. Share this with your grandma. Share it with your crazy aunt. Share other people with other people. Share people like Tim Pool. Share Charlie Kirk's old videos and speeches with other people. And encourage that dialogue. Encourage that debate in our country. And let's make it a better country. Thank you for watching. And I hope you have a good day.